Welcome to today's video where we take a glamorous journey through old Hollywood's golden era, exploring the lives of some of the most iconic actresses who not only captivated audiences with their acting talents but also left an everlasting impact with their striking physical beauty. From Marilyn Monroe to Jayne Mansfield, these women were celebrated for their figures and became symbols of allure in an era when beauty was as much about body as it was about talent. So, let's dive into the world of these timeless stars and discover what made them unforgettable. 1. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, born Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1, 1926, became one of the most iconic figures in Hollywood's golden era. Raised in foster homes and orphanages, Marilyn's early life was filled with hardship and instability. Her journey to fame began when she signed a modeling contract with the Blue Book Agency in 1945. It wasn't long before her beauty and charm caught the attention of Hollywood, and she signed a contract with 20th Century Fox. Marilyn's breakout role came in 1950 with the film The Asphalt Jungle. However, it was her portrayal of a naive, but beautiful woman in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes in 1953 that catapulted her to stardom. Known for her platinum blonde hair, hourglass figure, and sultry voice, Monroe embodied the quintessential sex symbol of the 1950s. Her most iconic role was in Some Like It Hot, 1959, where she starred alongside Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. Her performance was celebrated, but it was her striking figure and beauty that made her a cultural sensation. Monroe's figure became an embodiment of feminine allure. She was well-endowed, with curves that stood out in a time when actresses were often expected to be more slender. Her beauty was not just skin-deep, her vulnerability and charm captivated audiences around the world. Monroe's off-screen life was marked by struggles. She was married 3 times, including to famous baseball player Joe DiMaggio and playwright Arthur Miller. Her marriages were often tumultuous, and her personal life became as famous as her career. Despite her fame, Monroe was constantly battling with her image and the pressure Hollywood placed on her. She was often criticized for being too sexy, but she remained true to herself. Sadly, Marilyn Monroe's life came to an untimely end when she was found dead on August 5, 1962, at the age of 36. Her death shocked the world and left behind countless unanswered questions. 2. Jayne Mansfield. Born on April 19, 1933, in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, Jayne Mansfield was one of the most well-known actresses of the 1950s and 1960s. With her platinum blonde hair, stunning figure, and playful persona, she became one of the biggest sex symbols of the time. Jayne's breakthrough in Hollywood came after she signed with 20th Century Fox in 1955. Her rise to fame was quick, thanks to her voluptuous figure and curvaceous body, which were rarely seen in Hollywood at that time. Mansfield's most famous role was in the 1956 film The Girl Can't Help It, where she played a role that solidified her as the ultimate bombshell. The movie's success led her to a series of roles in films that focused on her physical appearance. She became known as the Blonde Bombshell, a title that was a nod to her similarities to Marilyn Monroe, but Jayne had her own distinct charm. Despite being compared to Monroe, Mansfield's career was different. She was not just a sex symbol, but also an actress with a sense of humor and an ability to play comedic roles. Her roles in films like Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter? 1957 showcased her comedic timing and highlighted that she could do more than just be eye candy. Mansfield was also famous for her personal life, which often made headlines. She married and divorced 3 times, most notably to actor Mickey Hargitay, with whom she had 3 children. The media adored her, and she was frequently in the public eye for both her glamorous lifestyle and her daring outfits, which often accentuated her curvy figure. Her personal life became just as intriguing as her film roles. Sadly, Jayne's life was cut short at the age of 34 when she died in a car crash on June 29, 1967. Her tragic death cemented her status as a Hollywood legend, but her legacy extends far beyond her looks. Jayne Mansfield inspired a new wave of sex symbols, showing that women could embrace their sexuality without losing their intelligence or charm. 3. Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren was born Sophia Villani Ciccalone on September 20, 1934, in Rome, Italy. From a young age, she experienced hardship, growing up in poverty during World War II. However, her beauty and talent were evident even as a teenager, and by the age of 15, she was spotted by a film producer who offered her a screen test. Loren's first few years in Hollywood were a struggle, but she quickly proved herself with her striking beauty and acting ability. Loren made a name for herself in Italy with films such as The Pride and the Passion, 1957, and Two Women, 1960, the latter of which won her the Academy Award for Best Actress. Her role in Two Women was a turning point in her career, as it showcased her depth as an actress. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Loren was known for her curvaceous figure and Italian sensuality, which broke Hollywood's traditional beauty mold. She was a woman with real curves, and her figure became a symbol of natural beauty and elegance. Sophia Loren's fame grew worldwide, and she soon became an international star. She was celebrated not just for her acting but for her timeless beauty. Her full figure, with an emphasis on her natural curves, made her a unique presence in Hollywood, where most actresses were expected to conform to a thinner, more classic body type. Loren was the epitome of Mediterranean beauty and sensuality, and her figure set a new standard for women in the industry. Throughout her career, Loren starred in numerous successful films, working with some of the most renowned directors and actors of the time. Films like Marriage Italian Style, 1964, and Arabesque, 1966, further cemented her legacy as one of Hollywood's greats. She was admired not only for her acting talent but for her sophisticated style, her ability to charm audiences, and her sense of confidence. Sophia Loren's career, which spans decades, is a testament to her ability to break boundaries. 4. Mae West. Mae West, born on August 17, 1893, in Brooklyn, New York, became one of the most daring and provocative actresses in Hollywood. Known for her quick wit, double entendres, and risque humor, Mae West redefined the image of women in the entertainment industry. She was unapologetically bold and sensual, and her voluptuous figure became central to her on-screen persona. West's career began on Broadway, where she found success with plays like Sex and the Drag, both of which pushed the boundaries of what was socially acceptable at the time. Her Hollywood debut came in 1932 with the film Night After Night, but it was her role in She Done Him Wrong, 1933, that catapulted her to stardom. Her famous line, "Why don't you come up sometime and see me?" became one of the most iconic phrases in cinema history. Mae West's figure was part of her allure. Her curves, combined with her bold personality and sexual confidence, made her one of the most talked about women in Hollywood. At a time when Hollywood favored the slim, more delicate actresses, Mae's figure was a breath of fresh air, challenging the traditional standards of beauty. Her body, along with her personality, made her an enduring symbol of the liberated woman. Throughout her career, Mae West starred in several successful films, such as I'm No Angel, 1933, and My Little Chickadee, 1940, often playing the role of a woman who was unapologetically in control of her own sexuality. She faced criticism and censorship for her bold and sometimes controversial performances, but she remained a trailblazer, paving the way for other actresses to embrace their sexual power. Mae West was more than just a sex symbol. She was a writer, a director, and a producer, who took control of her own career in an era when women were often relegated to passive roles in Hollywood. Mae's legacy as a boundary-breaking star and her status as a true icon of sex appeal and empowerment still endure today. 5. Betty Grable. Betty Grable, born December 18, 1916, in St. Louis, Missouri, was one of the most beloved stars of the 1940s and 1950s. Known for her infectious smile and stunning figure, Betty became a pin-up icon during World War II, inspiring countless soldiers and civilians alike. Her career took off when she signed with 20th Century Fox in the late 1930s, but it was during the 1940s that Betty became a household name. Betty Grable's most famous role came in the 1943 film Sweet Rosie O'Grady, which featured the iconic shot of her in a bathing suit, a moment that solidified her status as the ultimate pin-up girl. Her figure, with her curves and shapely legs, was celebrated at a time when the country was focused on wartime morale. Her beauty and figure made her a symbol of the American dream and the ideal woman of her time. What made Betty Grable so unique was her combination of talent, beauty, and charm. While her figure and looks were widely admired, she was also an accomplished actress, dancer, and singer. Films like How to Marry a Millionaire, 1953, and The Farmer's Daughter, 1947, showcased her ability to play both comedic and dramatic roles, proving that she was more than just a pretty face. Betty's body became as much a part of her persona as her acting. In an era dominated by slender actresses, Betty Grable's fuller figure was celebrated. Her curvaceous body became a symbol of health, vitality, and the idealized American woman. She was the epitome of the post-war beauty standard, and her image as a glamorous, wholesome woman resonated with audiences across the world. Betty Grable's legacy continues to this day as one of the greatest pin-up girls of all time. She remains a symbol of the golden age of Hollywood, and her figure, once the standard of feminine beauty, is still admired in pop culture. 6. Dorothy Dandridge. Dorothy Dandridge was born on November 9, 1922, in Cleveland, Ohio, and became one of the first African-American actresses to gain mainstream recognition in Hollywood. At a time when racial barriers were strong, Dorothy broke through them with her stunning beauty, exceptional talent, and undeniable charisma. She made her film debut in 1942, but it was her groundbreaking role in Carmen Jones, 1954, that catapulted her into stardom. In Carmen Jones, Dorothy Dandridge played the titular role of a seductive woman caught in a love triangle. The role showcased not only her beauty but her acting ability, earning her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, making her the first African-American woman to be nominated in that category. Dorothy's figure, with her graceful curves and statuesque presence, contributed to her allure. She was often compared to the likes of other glamorous actresses of the time, yet her unique beauty and elegance set her apart. Dorothy Dandridge was celebrated for her dark, luminous beauty and voluptuous figure, which was seen as a radical departure from the typical body types that Hollywood had previously favored. Her beauty challenged traditional ideals, and she became a role model for women of color, demonstrating that they, too, could achieve success in an industry that had long been segregated. Unfortunately, Dorothy's career was marred by personal and professional struggles, including typecasting and the racial prejudices she faced. Despite her immense talent, she often found herself limited by the roles she was offered. She faced hardships that were typical for African American actresses at the time, but she continued to defy expectations with her performances and presence. Tragically, Dorothy Dandridge passed away on September 8, 1965, at the age of 42. However, her impact on Hollywood and her role as a trailblazer for African American women in film cannot be overstated. 7. Raquel Welch. Raquel Welch was born on September 5, 1940, in Chicago, Illinois, and quickly became one of Hollywood's most iconic sex symbols. Her rise to stardom began in the mid-1960s when she appeared in 1 Million Years BC, 1966. In this film, Raquel's image in a fur bikini became one of the most famous moments in cinema history. Her figure, with her long flowing hair and stunning curves, captivated audiences worldwide and turned her into a sex symbol almost overnight. Raquel Welch's career was filled with successes, and she made her mark not only in action-packed films but also in dramatic roles. Films like Fantastic Voyage, 1966, and The Three Musketeers, 1973, showcased her acting range, but it was her physique that made her stand out in the industry. Her curves, athletic figure, and overall presence on screen became synonymous with beauty and strength. At a time when Hollywood beauty standards leaned towards slim, waif-like figures, Raquel Welch's more athletic and curvaceous body challenged these norms. She embodied a sense of power and sensuality that made her different from the conventional stars of the time. Raquel was an active participant in shaping her image and carefully managed her career to balance her roles with her sex symbol status. Beyond her acting career, Raquel Welch became a fashion icon and a symbol of timeless beauty. She remains a trailblazer for women in Hollywood, and her confidence and strong sense of self continue to inspire generations. Raquel's figure, known for its stunning curves, became one of the most recognized body types in Hollywood history. 8. Brigitte Bardot. Brigitte Bardot, born on September 28, 1934, in Paris, France, became one of the most famous actresses and international sex symbols of the 1950s and 1960s. Known for her striking beauty, seductive eyes, and perfectly proportioned figure, Bardot quickly became the epitome of French glamour. She began her career as a model before transitioning into film, where her breakthrough came with the 1952 film Le True Normand. However, it was her role in And God Created Woman, 1956, that turned her into a global sensation. Brigitte's body, with its natural curves and effortless sensuality, became a defining aspect of her public image. She had a youthful, fresh appearance that was different from the traditional beauty standards of the time. Bardot's voluptuous figure made her stand out in an industry that often favored slimmer, more angular actresses, and she became a symbol of sensual freedom in the 1960s. Her success wasn't just about her beauty. Bardot's carefree attitude and rebellious spirit in her roles resonated with the changing social landscape of the time. She was the symbol of liberation, representing the evolving sexual revolution and women's emancipation from conventional beauty norms. Bardot's ability to merge sex appeal with natural elegance made her an icon not only in France but worldwide. Despite her success in Hollywood, Bardot retired from acting at a young age in 1973 to focus on animal rights activism. However, her legacy as one of the most celebrated sex symbols of all time endures. Bardot's beauty, sensuality, and legacy as a trailblazer for women in cinema continue to inspire and captivate audiences today. 9. Linda Christian. Born on November 13, 1923, in Tacubaya, Mexico, Linda Christian quickly made a name for herself in Hollywood as one of the first Latina actresses to rise to fame. She was known for her striking beauty, exotic looks, and curvaceous figure, which were unlike anything seen in mainstream cinema at the time. Linda's career began in the 1940s when she appeared in several films, but her major break came in 1954 when she was cast as the first Bond girl in the 1954 TV adaptation of Casino Royale. Christian's appearance in Casino Royale marked a new era for women in cinema. She was not just a beautiful face. Her role symbolized the femme fatale archetype, combining both elegance and danger. Linda's voluptuous figure made her a standout in a time when actresses with more slender frames were often the norm. Her body, full of curves, exuded a confident sensuality that was ahead of its time. While her Hollywood career was not as extensive as some of her contemporaries, Linda Christian's role in Casino Royale cemented her place in film history. Her performance as the exotic and mysterious love interest for James Bond laid the foundation for the Bond girl archetype that would become iconic in the decades to follow. She became a symbol of elegance, allure, and sophistication, all wrapped up in one stunning package. Although Linda Christian did not enjoy the same level of fame as other actresses of the time, her legacy remains intact. She paved the way for more diverse representation in Hollywood, showing that beauty and sensuality come in many forms. Her curvaceous figure and stunning looks continue to be admired, and her contribution to the Bond franchise has ensured that she will always be remembered in cinematic history.